Love is Blind is like a toxic ex who you know is bad for you, but when it's good, it is so good that you're willing to put up with all the bad things just to like feel that high again. That is exactly what I felt like watching this season of Love is Blind, season 8, set in Minneapolis, a place that I have not given much thought about, but like now that I've met the kind of people that live in Minneapolis, I think I'm fine. I'm so sorry. I'm so good. Like, maybe there's great people in Minneapolis. There were 32 people that they showed us. I'm not sold. I'm not sold. I've not seen the city yet, mind you, so maybe it looks lovely, but these people are not it. Netflix dropped their largest batch of episodes I think ever. So if you're not familiar with the concept, so typically they, instead of like releasing everything at once, they'll release like this portion, this portion, this portion to keep people like talking about it for a month and a half. But they released this batch on Valentine's Day, like really doubling down and being like, I bet you guys are so single that you are going to be able to willing to watch all 6 episodes of this. They're right. I watched all these episodes on that Friday. But jokes on you, Netflix, I did not watch it alone, so take that. I'm Kaya Simone and welcome to my channel. Come along with me as I recap the first 6 episodes and hopefully save you countless hours of your life. 7 hours and 51 minutes. That is how much time we spent on these 6 episodes, all in the pods. Okay, all in the pods, mind you. All in the pods. So I did you guys all a service, so please be very grateful and give this video a like and subscribe. Okay, thank you so much. Our journey starts where all these journeys start in a random pod-like soundstage in California, where we see the 32 people, 16 men and 16 women, many of whom we will never see them again. Like, the most you ever see of them is in a very like opening scene, or you might see them as like background characters and you're wondering like, why are you still guys here? People are getting engaged. Like, shouldn't you guys not be have left by now? But hey, I do not edit the show. I do not cast the show. I do not know what goes into their mind. The first 2 people that we actually see when Vanessa and Nick Lachey, who are hosts but do nothing, are Taylor, a nurse, and Daniel. I'm kind of like working on a theory that the people that they show us initially end up being a couple. I have no evidence of this. Like, I could go back and watch the other seasons, but like I really don't want to. So if you have like noticed that they're actually looking couples, like I'd love to know. Vanessa here. This is the first and last time that you will see her. Honestly, pretty much anyone of color, like just soak it in, because like these moments are very fleeting. These moments are very, very fleeting. I promise you that. I'm not sure if this is a Minneapolis thing. I'm not sure if this is how they casted the season, but like of the couples that we end up seeing, there is only one of color couple. But when you look at the actual cast that they put on the internet, like I think there are a total of 5 women and 5 men who are non-white passing. So I think the odds were not great, period, for this season. Like there shouldn't be what, less than 10% of diverse. I don't know. It's just really weird. So after this whole scene, like basically where people are like setting their intentions and being like, yep, I want love. When we all know that their goal was to get at least 100,000 followers on Instagram after they're released, but you know what? We can all like live the lie that these people actually want to find love. If you're new to the concept of Love is Blind, so basically this is speed dating where there are 16 men and 16 women and they just kind of like, they're just meeting, they're chatting just to figure out if they have a vibe or not. Some standouts are Meg, Taylor and Dan, who immediately tells Taylor that one of his sisters is blind, so like love is blind for him is basically just like how his sister experiences love. And I'm like, okay, sure. I'm guessing that's why casting chose you. Go off. We also have Brett and Devin, who are first candidates for the Black love story that I'm always searching for when I'm watching Love is Blind. Last season gave me 2 Black couples that made it out of the pods, okay? Both fell to them, like royally fell, being like Alex and Tim. Please watch my recap that I did about their whole entire relationship, from like their baby mama drama to their divorce. It was just such a ride. And that's kind of like what's been really hard for me watching Love is Blind sometimes, is that there's just so much narrative that happens outside of the show that it's kind of like hard to root for people at time. So Devin is a self-proclaimed sneakerhead who is in a love triangle. There are so many love triangles. So Devin has Virginia, an ex-NBA player, ex-NBA cheerleader who is 5 years older than Devin. There's always something that feels like weird to me about age gaps when like the woman is older versus the male. Like, but they're 5 years. I don't know why my mind's like that, but my mind's just like that. We have Monica and Joey, who are just like really, really weird. I do not like them, and like I feel like if we see them, it's probably because they end up together. I can't see someone else liking them, in all honesty. We have Dave, who gives me the worst finance bro energy, who opens up by asking each woman what is wrong with them.
Leslie.
So what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Why are you here?
What?
He gives me like flashbacks to Brayden from like 2 seasons ago, who was like, he's just like villain energy. Like, you did not have to be like this. You don't have to do all this, but you do it. And Dave admits that he is bad to a woman and is historically.
What's wrong with you?
Why Love is Blind?
Oh man, to be brutally honest, I just have kind of been an ass to women in my previous dating life.
And he says that he works in medical aesthetics. I do not know what that is. I do not know what medical aesthetics is. Is that Botox? Is that lip fillers? Is that cosmetic? I do not know. And he has a very ideal type of what he wants in a woman. And you cannot go on these types of shows if you have that mindset, like, because it's toxic for everyone there, and it's also a recipe for disaster. Dave is also in a love triangle. We have Lauren, who's an ex-teacher who sells social studies curriculum. I've never heard of this job. I have not. But Dave also hits it off with Molly. I have thoughts about Molly that we'll get into, beyond that she's a redhead. Girl seems lovely at first. Girl is not lovely. She has never had a boyfriend, and that feels like quite a jump to go from never having a boyfriend to being like, I'm ready to get married in 6 weeks. Come on, girl. Like, I know it's hard out there, okay? I know it's hard out there. But have you actually tried? I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know if you've tried enough sometimes, especially with people like this, because it doesn't seem like when she's been talking that she's actually ready to get married and has ever been ready to get married. Same with Dave.
To have a boyfriend just to have a boyfriend, because that could be easy. If I wanted to, I would.
Everyone is debriefing about how the pods were, who they have connections with, who they don't have connections with. This is really the first and last time that we're going to see them do this. And honestly, this should not be happening, because after this, everyone gets too invested. Like, you can't be talking about, oh, yeah, I met this guy, Jeremy. He seems like popping off, because like Sarah over here will be like, oh, I'm also seeing Jeremy. And that just like fucks up with your head. Because it's just like really taboo at that point, because you can't be talking about your relationship with someone else. Imagine if there was like, every time you matched with someone on a dating app, you guys all became in a big group chat where you guys could just all talk about how your date went with one person. That's probably what's happening, but you shouldn't be like having that in your face, because it's just gonna mess with your psyche. Our next potential couple is Alex and Madison. Alex's big thing is everyone has to have like their little magnus opus, is that he grew up being unattractive, and now he's not. Like, I'm really proud of you, Alex. Like, I'm glad you went through puberty and things are fine. We also have Addison, who you'll see as we continue our journey. I felt there was something off about her from the get-go. I couldn't like place my finger on it initially, and I figured out. But one of my things, when my friend mentioned I was watching with, she was just like, the way that Madison describes herself, like, she described it as an origin story. She basically has set herself up as being the main character in her narrative arc.
Like, literally surrounded by cornfields. I was never meant for that cookie cutter, marry your high school sweetheart type of life. Working like 3 jobs. And then in the summer, I moved to Paris. And then while I was in Paris...
And I know that we are all the main character in our own story, but like, she's basically like mythologizing herself, like being like, yeah, like, you know, things were hard, but like, you know, I ended up like moving to Paris and doing this or that, like staying with his family, like learning Arabic. It's like, that's so great. Thank you so much. But what does that tell me about you? You're just giving me a list of things that you have done just to seem interesting, more so than like what you do. But she immediately goes from that to saying how she grew up with a drug addict mom, a drug addict stepfather who ended up dying on her birthday. And it's just like whiplash. She went from being like, yep, I'm an international traveler and I've, you know, learned Arabic, and to being like, oh, I have drug addict parents that really messed me up. We are really trauma dumping on this. It must not have been that bad, because Alex just opens up being bullied because, again, he wasn't attractive. But again, he does end up saying that he was like kicked out of his house. So like, I guess we'll let that go.
I got kicked out of the house and I had to just figure it out on my own, basically.
Wow.
On one side of this, I'm like, that's a lot, because they were saying this in their first like 15 minutes of their meeting. Okay, this is not the first this is like quick. It's quick. And like, you can't really just talk about music taste or like your shared love of Italian food, because like at some point you have to like really get into, you have to be asking the hard-hitting questions to figure out if this person is for you or not for you, to make that conclusion if you want to proceed with them. On the other hand though, I feel like going in that hot and quick, I feel like there should be room to like build and grow that friendship and that comfort, versus being like, okay, I have to be really like on my toes about this person because they have this history. As they leave each other, the song Falling For You plays, so things are going pretty well for them. I think it's really interesting. I'm paying a lot more attention to the songs that they play. They also like real artists in this. There's like, at some point they playing a Miley Cyrus song. Go off Netflix, get that budget. The theme of this season, as I mentioned, is love triangles. So, and we meet Mason, the other romantic contender for Madison's heart, who is a white guy and cinematographer. Mason's other match is Meg, who was honestly one of my favorite people this season. Like, she's so real. Like, she was on a completely different planet.
I have to tell you, like, I don't smoke, but I have high thoughts a lot. Like, ant homes are so intricate underground.
Oh my God, it's incredible.
No, I just heard about it.
Amazing.
But in this same podcast, the guy was talking to him about how, like,
Am I crazy, or is she just explaining the plot Men in Black here? Like, ants who have superpowers, who are like running the world. Like, I love how your mind thinks. Like, you're just giving me a stream of consciousness, and you're just giving me a stream of consciousness, and you're being yourself. Dave, our resident self-proclaimed recovering sexist, continues to build his connections with Molly and Lauren. These are vastly different women, and how he interacts with them are also very different. Molly gets early sexual conversation, and Lauren gets questions about her family. So I feel like really like shows you the juxtaposition on who they are. We also have Monica and Joey. Again, these give me girl, guy, best friend energy. I know some couples are just playful like that. I just have a hard time like seeing them have an actual romantic connection. Like, maybe it'll grow. I'm convinced they're getting engaged at this point. Lauren and Dave are having a chill conversation about tattoos, and somehow it pivots to him having emotionally breaking down about how he's overwhelmed and didn't expect to feel like this. Sir, I'm so sorry to tell you. That's just kind of what happens in this. But I think this format of the show like benefits men more than women, because it gives them a space to open up in a safe environment and not be so driven by outcomes and looks.
I'm very overwhelmed.
Are you?
I did not think I was gonna come here and feel like this.
Definitely what we see from Dave here. Here you can tell that he's not used to actually opening up to people and like connecting in a real meaningful way beyond like, oh, this girl looks hot, like that's good enough to go. So they're talking about tattoos here, and Dave makes a comment about, oh, we should get matching tattoos. Please, 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 please do not get matching tattoos with someone who you are dating or married. It's painful to remove, and if something goes wrong, it's a permanent reminder of that relationship if you can't afford to do like the love-in treatment that it takes to remove a tattoo. But Molly, our Molly girl here though, on the other hand, Molly's like, yeah, I got a lower back tattoo on my... Molly becomes our first offender breaking the cardinal rule of not talking about your relationship in front of the other woman, especially when you don't know who else someone is dating and you are just speculating at this point, which Molly is fully doing. Molly swears Dave is seeing Sarah right in front of Lauren, who is the actual person Dave is seeing.
Who are you talking to? Oh, yeah. It's like going really well.
You want talking about him though?
No, they've been secretive, but I know who it is.
Molly, if you don't know better, shut your mouth. Lauren at first is very coy about who she is like seeing, like, but Molly's like, everyone knows who I'm seeing, so I'm just being very open about it. And she's like, I'm seeing Dave. Lauren's like, oh, okay, you're seeing Dave. That's lovely to know. No, it wasn't. Part of me wants to believe that Molly is just being manipulative and trying to put in doubt in Lauren's head, because otherwise I can't believe Molly's so stupid at this point, because like, why would you do that? Time will tell. All right, that's a wrap for this episode recap. Please let me know your thoughts on who is going to make it out of this as a couple. I have my own thoughts. And this episode was a drag. Honestly, episode was a drag. It took a long time, but I think it did a good job at least like setting up some foundations. As always, I'm Kaya Simone. Give this video a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Oh, cool.